you may have noticed that something's different this morning. And you're wondering why it's different this morning. Tim and Sheila and I are here from the Beaver Creek congregation because as we sold our building last fall, we've been in ongoing conversation about how are we going to minister? What groups are we going to minister to? And that conversation continues. It's very detailed, I'll have to give you that. One of the things we decided to do was step out of our building because we don't have one anymore, and to go to other congregations to provide an order of worship and share our ministry with you. So that's why we're here today, and that's why things are a little bit different. So I hope you have open hearts and open minds, and we are so pleased to be here, and we welcome you, and we are so happy to see each one of you.
Good morning. It is a delight to be here with you. While Debbie has already said, our congregation is trying to figure out what we're going to look like in the future, and it is good to be engaged in outreach. It is also good to be in the sanctuary and to be providing worship and to be worshiping with one another. Our call to worship today is from Doctrine and Covenants 163, 4a, and I'm going to do it as a dwelling in the Word, a little bit different than how we usually do a call to worship. We actually want to involve you in our worship, and so I invite your participation with this as you feel led, and I'll give more detail about that as we go along. But I'm going to read the following scripture passage aloud. And as you hear it, I invite you to just allow the words, the images, and the phrases to come to your mind. Try not to focus on them, but just let them rest within you. And then I will give you a moment of silence, and I will read the scripture again a second time. And as you hear the words again, listen for how God's Spirit may be nudging you or catching your attention at this time in this day. God, the eternal Creator, weeps for the poor, displaced, mistreated, and diseased of the world because of their unnecessary suffering. Such conditions are not God's will. Open your ears to hear the pleading of mothers and fathers in all nations who desperately seek a future of hope for their children. Do not turn away from them, for in their welfare resides your welfare. God, the eternal Creator, weeps for the poor, the displaced, the mistreated, and the diseased of the world because of their unnecessary suffering. Such conditions are not God's will. Open your ears to hear the pleading of mothers and fathers in all nations who desperately seek a future of hope for their children. Do not turn away from them, for in their welfare resides your welfare. I invite you now to just take a moment, if you would like, to share responses to either the questions that I've listed in the bulletin, what words, phrases, or images came to mind, and if you'd like, you could just give popcorn responses, or how is God nudging you right now in this moment? Or you may feel led to share in a different way, and that is encouraged as well. But I just invite you to feel free to briefly express your experience with this discipline, if you'd like. I know something that always grasps me is, in their welfare resides your welfare. And that reminds me that we're not separate human beings, we're all connected. And as long as one suffers, I suffer. as long as one receives blessing, I receive blessing. That's been the big thing for me.
I was called to reflect that bit of scripture is about me, but it's also about each and every person in this room. We've probably all been a target at one time or another of some of those characteristics that were described about the people we should reach out to. But all of us are called, no matter what we've faced, people that will reach out to them and help them.
The words that struck me were open your ears. And it seems to me that we often are blind and cannot hear and cannot see the things that are happening in other people's lives that are separate from us. And God's saying, open your ears and hear those voices.
I thank you for your kind attention with this scripture, and I invite your continued dwelling in it as you go through your day and your week. Thank you.